everyone, my name's Jackie, and in this speech, I will be talking about pollution. So, have you ever noticed while driving on the freeway or laying on the beach, there's trash all around you, whether it be small or large, or have you ever gone outside on a perfectly clear day, yet the sky is a little murky in color? That's pollution. And so, there are many different forms of pollution, but in this speech, I will be talking about the three main types, which are water, air, and soil. So there are many different causes to each type of pollution, and I'm here to give you an explanation to the majority of them. So one form of water pollution, which is the pollution that most everybody is familiar with, is water pollution. And water pollution has to do with pollution to any water source, such as ocean or river pollution. So an article about water pollution on the website Conserve Energy Future says that water pollution occurs when substances that will modify the water in negative fashion are discharged in it. So there are two types, and there's point and non-point water pollution. So in another article on environmental pollution centers, it describes point pollution as localized sources like an industrial process. These sources are usually regulated so that the effects can be predicted and tried to kept as minimal as possible. And then non-point pollution is undefined sources that pollutants are carried from water runoff and water discharge. So a source of pollution can be industrial, and industrial waste has to do with waste that contains chemicals that the industries drain, which goes into rivers, canals, streams, and then later out to sea. So these chemicals possess the capability to change the color of water, the temperature of water, and increase the amount of minerals, which researchers called eutrophication. And another type of water pollution is oil spills. So my first visual is a picture of an oil spill. And this oil spill was the oil spill in 2010 off the Gulf of Mexico. And in an article by the Ocean Portal team, it was said that an estimated 3.19 million barrels of oil had leaked into the Gulf. And a statistic showed that the effects of the oil spill on marine life was very detrimental because from 2002 to 2009, which was right before the oil spill, the Gulf averaged about 63 dolphin deaths per year, and then that rose to 125 several months after the spill in 2010, and then in 2011 it spiked back up to 335 deaths per year, and then since April of 2010, it averages more than 200 deaths per year of the dolphins. So that has significantly increased since the oil spill. And then another form of a water pollutant is sewage. So the sewage can contaminate water due to bacteria, viruses, and other parasites. And this is like from sewage from like our toilets or just from like the gutters and stuff that drains into our water that can contain very harmful stuff to the water which we then consume in our bodies, or to the water which is the home of different marine life. So one more, which is the last type of water pollutant I will discuss, is chemical. This chemical pollutants consist of organic and non-organic compounds. And then according to a different article on Conserve Energy Future, organic factors include organic compounds, fuels, waste from trees, and the inorganic factors include ammonia, chemical waste from factories, and then like discarded cosmetics or sunscreen, stuff like that. And then these types of water pollution can cause damage to us in many different ways because, you know, we bathe in the water, we drink it, we swim in it, and then a statistic found on the National Geographic shows that in developing countries, 70% of industrial wastes are dumped into waters, and then it pollutes the usable water supply. And then if you consume this polluted water, it can lead to stomach aches or disease over time. And not only does the water pollution affect us, but also marine life, such as the oil spill example that I showed. And also the Great Barrier Reef is a good example of water pollution, just because it has been greatly affected by water pollution. And the National Ocean Service explains how coral will expel algae living in their tissues when water temperatures rise or there's chemicals that aren't supposed to be there, and this causes the coral to turn completely white, and this is called coral bleaching. So this can be due to chemicals as well. And then water pollution is, like I said, the main form that many people are aware of. However, there is another form that people are less knowledgeable about or don't know much about, and that's soil pollution. And this is due to the presence of toxic chemicals in the soil, and in high enough concentration, these can pose a risk to us and our ecosystem. And there's two categories of pollutants. These are natural and man-made pollutants. And then an article on the website Environmental Pollution Centers defines natural pollutants as natural processes that lead to an accumulation of toxic products in the soil. And then man-made pollutants are contaminants or chemicals that are inorganic and organic that basically we put into the soil due to like runoff or the dumping of pollutants. And the types of leading soil contaminants are herbicides, lead, zinc, and mercury. The soil pollutants affect us because the produce that we eat is grown in soil that could be potentially harmful to us if it's polluted, because then we ingest it directly into us and all these chemicals go into us. And then an article on Livestrong explains how children are more susceptible to this because it can cause developmental problems like kidney or liver damage, and then also neurological problems because of the high concentrations of metal. So also it can affect us economically just because, if all of the produce that we grow gets polluted, then you have to throw a lot of it out. So according to a China dialogue, it said that an estimated 12 million tons of polluted grain must be disposed of each year due to them being grown in polluted soil with heavy metals, and this costs Chinese farmers about $2.57 billion in U.S. currency. So now I'm going to talk about the last main source of pollution, which is air pollution. And the most common form of air pollution is smog, but there's also visible and non-visible pollution in the air. And these are because of chemicals like greenhouse gases. And the most common one in our atmosphere, according to National Geographic, is carbon dioxide, which is a greenhouse gas. And it is also the main pollutant that is warming our Earth. And there are other greenhouse gases that also contribute to air pollution, but the pollution in America arises mostly from power plants and industries, and then especially driving around because we secrete gases from the exhaust pipe when we drive around. And then NBC lists that the top 3 cities in America with the worst air pollution are all in California, and the third is Fresno, second is Bakersfield, and then the most polluted city is Visalia, Porterville to Hanford. And then air pollution affects the environment, but also us individually because it can cause cardiovascular disease and brain damage. And then researchers have also found a link between obesity and pollution. And researchers studied in 2014 that the body mass index among children exposed to traffic-related air pollution is a 14% larger BMI by the age of 10 than those who aren't. So although we know about kind of the general idea of pollution, we now know more about pollution and the causes and effects of the 3 main types, which are water, soil, and air pollution. And there are many different factors other than the ones that I listed here that kind of contribute to the pollution. And researchers have discovered, are constantly discovering more things that contribute to this and are trying to do things to prevent it from affecting our health in the world we live in. So I hope that this speech has been informative to you, and you are now all experts on pollution.